Yes, we are. Board of Selectmen, or Select Board meeting. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by the Foxboro Cable Access. Why don't we start with the pledge? Doc?
Sure. Do the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any citizens' input?
Yes, Kevin and Dianne Weinfeld. Oh, just Dianne.
What do people do? Do they stand, they sit?
No, sit down so you can be on the mic. No, you don't have to go to the podium. You can just sit right there.
Yeah, we want to speak. Go to the
Go to the podium so I can take you down.
Oh, all right, anyways. Thank you for allowing me to be part.
Diane, you have to be in front of the mic. You have to sit down.
Or go. Mr. Beck's going to
Sit down.
Sit down.
Yeah,
I
relax.
usually stand when I
Enjoy
speak.
yourself.
All right, here we go.
There you go.
You can tell this isn't a regular event for me. Thank you for allowing me to be part of tonight's citizen input. My name is Dianne Weinfeld, and I'm glad to be here. I want to share with the board and the community at large an invitation to come to our upcoming Strive to Thrive Gala being held Thursday, October 16th at 6 p.m. at the Marilyn Rodman Performing Arts Center right here in Foxborough. We have a fun 3-hour program on tap. We're bringing in entertainment, Rick Damari, a Sinatra singer from Boston. Our event features a live auction, a photo booth, a wine wall, bidding baskets, beverages, and light bites. Our terrific Foxborough-based subcommittee has been working on crafting the gala for over a year. Some background. I was diagnosed with advanced rectal cancer in 2019. At the time, I was handed a one-page scribbled sheet outlining what was to be a years-long journey. It was confusing, open to misinterpretation, and led to much angst. Once through my initial years of treatment, my husband Kevin and I felt called to help others navigate their treatment and survival. We began funding the MGH Cancer Center work and ultimately developed Pathways, a 185-page guide that includes clinical coaching for patients like me. The Strive to Thrive Gala is designed to raise awareness of the prevalence of colorectal cancer and funds to provide guidance and support for cancer patients navigating their survival. We've already raised over $125,000 thanks to generous donors. We've kept the ticket prices for the gala low, $80, and tickets are selling fast. We were just featured on Channel 5's 5 for Good. Thank you, Maria Stefanos, and we're looking to get the word out. Hence my presence here. We hope you can join us for this special event. Please mark your calendars on October 16th for attendance with us. And I have a little brochure. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you. I'll share my page.
I'm okay.
Am I supposed to turn this in? Is this, no? Okay.
No, and normally, we're not going to have any back and forth for citizens input. I just want to say, thank you for doing what you're doing. I'm sure there's many, many people in the same position you were in, and
Yeah.
The fact that you've taken charge of this, bravo.
Yeah, it's been very gratifying. At the event, there's a woman in the western part of the state that actually got to use Pathways. And one of the people that did our Mayfair website, pro bono, she spent an hour and a half filming her, and we have a 4-minute video, and we're bringing her in to come to just describe what it meant for her. So, you know, if you're going to get a situation like this, you have to find some good from it. So I'm really blessed. I'm here.
Is there anyone else? Nobody online?
No.
Okay. Alterations on a premises all alcohol restaurant license.
So this one will be postponed. If we could make a motion to just postpone it to 7:05 at the next meeting, which is September 23rd, please. There's just a holdup at the ABCC, just with paperwork. Sure. Motion to postpone.
Continue, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to continue the public hearing for 11:00 pickleball at Patriot Place to our next meeting on September 23rd. Third?
Second.
At 7.
At 7:05 PM.
7:05?
Yep.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Roll call.
Mark, yes.
Stephanie, yes.
Bill, yes.
Amy, yes.
Can we roll call?
No. I thought that one, it says right here we should, so. Doing what I'm told. Public hearing for 7:15, so we're too early for that. Why don't we go into
Action items?
action items? Yep.
Sure. Motion to approve and sign the FY '26 to FY '28 integrated contract for the Department of Public Works Employees Union, AFSCME, Local 1702, Unit A, Highway, and the Department of Public Works Employees Union, AFSCME, Local 1702, Unit B, Water and Sewer.
Second.
Can you give us just like a brief?
Sure, so this is a contract that's already been ratified by this board and by the union, and it was approved by town meeting. This step is taking the final step where the agreed MOU is integrated into the old contract, and everything was checked by both unions, by both the union and the town side, and so now this is just formalizing this final contract in its final form with integration.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none?
Okay. Motion to approve a petition for joint or identical pole locations by Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England Incorporated to install one JO pole on Elm Street beginning at a point proximity 847 feet northeast of the center line of the intersection of Central Street and East Belcher Road. Install new pole 24 through 50 at approximately 42.055767 degrees, 71.237250.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve a petition for joint or identical pole locations by Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England Incorporated to install one JO pole on Chestnut Street beginning at a point approximately 616 feet north of the center line of the intersection of Cohasset Street and Putnam Road. Install new pole 4-50 at approximately 42.065691.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Okay. Motion to accept the donation from Dr. Riyad Mortada in the amount of $1,200 for the memorial bench in memory of Ahmed K. Mortada.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve a one-day beer and wine license for B Hoppy Brewing LLC, doing business as Wormtown Brewery for October 17th, 2025, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. October 17th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for Patriot Place's Harvest Fest.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Friday. Motion to approve the Select Board meeting minutes from August 19th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None.
My
And
town manager's report?
you want to start? Sure.
let's see. We're holding a boards and committee training on September 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. And Katie has sent out invitations and reminders to all the boards and committee members in town. We're hoping if anybody's watching that they will RSVP and let us know they're coming. It's important training that our town council is offering, and it's always important to remember things like open meeting law and specific instances of how to handle certain things. So we encourage boards and committee members to attend this training. We did, I don't know if everybody saw the news, there was a lot of news about the Morgan Wallen concert going over. I had multiple friends text me to ask if it was true that Morgan Wallen was banned from Gillette because of it, and I had to disappoint them to let them know that in fact the Morgan Wallen situation was non-dramatic. The craft group texted me during the day and warned me they're going to go over. They know they have to pay a fine, and they paid the fine, I think, within 2 or 3 days. We didn't even issue it. They just, they knew they had to do it. The second night, there was no overage. So, yeah, there was really no controversy around it. Of course, we are sensitive to our residents, and that's why there is that curfew there. But there is no ban, and there was no drama. We did get...
There were complaints from Walpole, though.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we did get a complaint for the curfew violation by a Walpole resident, sent to their town manager, that was passed on to me. Basically, though, the gist of that email was more that they wanted the town of Walpole to be able to fine if they ran late. So, obviously, that's probably not within their jurisdiction, certainly not within mine, so I leave that be, but I did let Mr. Johnson, the town manager, know sort of how we operate and under which, the license under which we work.
And also, because I reached out to you, because I kept seeing that 11, they kept referencing 11 o'clock, and I was like, I thought it was 11:15 or 11:30, and so, in my email back to Paige said, well, it's not supposed to happen, but it wasn't quite as bad as, they were kind of saying he finished at 11:37 and the curfew was 11. It was actually 11:30, so
Right.
still not supposed to go over, but it wasn't as dramatic, but using your words, as it seemed. And with that being said, we don't want our friends in Walpole to think that we don't care, but we've set up our rules and conditions with a business that is in Foxborough, and that's all we can really do.
Right, and just for a reminder for everybody at home, on the weekdays, it's 11:15, weekends, it's 11:30, so. And it has to do with when the last song starts, not when the actual song ends. Now, there is also some language in the license. I mean, you couldn't have one song like a Freebird, that would go on for 10 minutes. I mean, there is a limit, but generally speaking, as long as they start that last song and then wrap it up within short order, they're covered. So we had an 11:44 stop time, according to our police chief. Greg Spear, who is the chair of the Foxborough Housing Authority, was granted yesterday the Board Member of the Year by the Mass Chapter of National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials. That's in recognition of his tireless efforts on the Walnut Knoll project. Speaking of Walnut Knoll, the occupancy permits have been issued for the first phase. And I did ask for a tour, so hopefully we can get in there. The traffic signals, I'm sure you've all noticed, are operational, and we do expect folks, if they're not already moving in, they will be shortly. You're going to hear this reminder from me every meeting between now and World Cup, but just a reminder to the residents that short-term rentals like Airbnbs are not permitted in Foxborough. We did also see some recent solicitations by a company online sending, it looked almost like it was from Gillette, but basically saying, please rent your parking spaces. We have followed up with that entity, and we've been able to figure out where those parkings are, and our police chief is handling that. But only commercial lots are authorized to sell parking spaces. And we have this real dilemma with that, because on one hand, we want to be sensitive to the fact that the North Street folks and all that, they deal with a lot of inconvenience. So you want to give them the latitude, you don't want to throw the book at them, especially around now. That other problem is, though, is that a lot of the people around there are having sort of the spin-off problems, where Chief Grace was saying that this past game, it was a mess on North Street. So we're going to have to figure something out. We try not to come down too hard. People get very angry when Scott sends out reminder emails about the limit that you can't really sell parking spots. He's actually had death threats about it, so people get very upset. Just understand that there are other residents complaining that they're seeing their neighbors parking. We're having other residents, like say we're on the Pine Acres area, complain about people parking and walking in there. Folks on Chestnut Street deal with bumper-to-bumper traffic. North Street gets the benefit of having restrictions, but then if they let everybody come in, it's kind of moot. So it's a moving sort of problem right now, but just be aware, and we're just reminding, and we do realize, trying to be sensitive, but we also have to address the laws as they exist.
Want to hold it there?
Sure.
Being 7:15, we will open the public hearing for the animal complaint on Nason Lane.
Sure. The Select Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025, beginning at 7:15 PM in the Gala Meeting Room, Town Hall, 40 South Street, Foxborough, Mass. In accordance with MGL Chapter 140, Section 157, and Chapter 78 of the Code of the Town of Foxborough, to address a hearing requested filed with the board regarding an animal complaint reported on August 27th, 2025 in the Nason Lane neighborhood. Anyone wishing to be heard on this matter should appear at this time and place designated.
Good evening.
I think we should start with,
We'll probably start with Casey, right?
Yeah,
Can you do the most, just roll call vote
yeah.
to open it?
Mark, yes?
Hello.
Stephanie, yes.
Hi.
Bill, yes.
Amy, yes?
And Casey, would you like to come up?
Yes.
Hi, I apologize, my allergies are getting the best of me tonight, so I'm going to do the best I can to get through this. So the issue is pertaining to a dog that goes by the name of Nala. I received a call from Miss Gollin. She was walking her 7-month-old Boston Terrier on Nason Lane when a large poodle-type dog came charging out of the yard and went after her dog. Ms. Gollin stated that she quickly picked up her dog to try to prevent any injuries, and that the owners of the dog, Nala, quickly retrieved Nala. She also stated that that the owner stated to her, if her dog cannot handle it, do not walk on this street. Ms. Gollin stated that her dog did not appear to be injured at the time, and they continued the walk home. Once they got home, she said Tuca was pretty shaken up by the incident and needed to calm down in his kennel, but later she did notice a small bite or scratch to the side of Tuca, which she wanted then to request a dog hearing before you guys based on the behavior of Nala. I let her know, the process of how to do that. I followed up with Mr. Saffler to issue a quarantine and a citation for failure to restrain Nala, since this is the second reported incident. The first time, Nala left the property and went after another dog that was being walked on the path behind. That dog received a puncture to its back, which was found the day after as well. We discussed the need for the quarantine since he was unaware that Tuca had been injured. And I did let him know that there were pictures of Tuca's injuries that had been sent to me to confirm. We discussed options moving forward and to keep Nala confined to the property. He also informed me Nala does have an electric fence, which they had not had issues with previously, but she does not seem to be respecting the boundaries of it now. He stated he was seeking behavioral training and would be reaching out to Nala's vet at the time as well, just to follow up and make sure there was nothing medically going on. When I went to release the quarantine on August 27th, I hand-delivered the citation and released the quarantine, and I also had the time then to meet with the trainer that they had hired at that point to work with Nala. They didn't have a behavior plan as of yet, but it was something that was in the works. And they did also state that the first incident, Nala didn't have the electric fence collar on, and the second incident, the fence had become unplugged, so the fence seems to work, when the collar's on and it's plugged in. It just, 2 incidences where it wasn't. Previously, before these 2 incidences, I had never received any formal complaints pertaining to Nala directly. Ms. Gollin was able to collect letters from neighbors pertaining to incidences, some directly and some indirectly, where Nala would bark at their dogs when they were walking past or would charge toward the dogs. There had not been any previous bites before these 2. And there was an incident of a lot of neighbors had complained to the HOA as opposed to animal control, which I kind of tend to find sometimes with this, so.
So as far as you know, the fence does operate?
The fence does operate when it's plugged in and the collar's on. Yeah.
So the owner is the one that's got to deal with that?
Yes.
Part. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to give us your?
Yes, I'm Lark Gollin. I live in Foxborough at Lion Lane, which is right across from Nason Lane. My dog was at Tufts for 7 days in critical care, and I decided to walk him when he came home for a short walk down Nason Lane. I didn't take the path because I'm aware of Nala, the way she charges, and she's very aggressive. She's reactive, and I was fearful that something would happen on the path. So I went on the street. She came charging right out from behind their house, slammed right into us. I picked him up immediately. He screamed. I yelled. The parents, the owners were not around. They were in the back of the house. The wife came out and she did tell me not to walk on the street if my dog couldn't handle it. To me, that's the wrong statement. You should feel safe to walk on any street and any path in this town. This is an aggressive, reactive dog without any training. He's probably not socialized properly as a young pup. It's not the dog's fault. This breed is a particularly nice breed, the Labradoodle. My dog weighs 17 pounds. This dog's probably 50, 60 pounds. If she had gotten a hold of my dog, he could have been killed. It's no joke. I've worked with big dogs before. I've trained shepherds with my mom in the state of Connecticut. I was just appalled at the owner's lack of accountability to take responsibility for this menacing, aggressive behavior that's intimidating neighbors to the point where no one wants to walk on that path now. The electric fence abuts the path. It's a beautiful little woodland path that connects Independence to Cannon Forge. It's en route to our pool area. The problem is, Nala can see dogs walking on the path, and she charges, she bares her teeth, she snarls, she growls, she charges, and you just die thinking, is this going to be the day she comes through that fence? I don't blame my friends and neighbors for not going down that path, but it shouldn't be like this. The dog needs obedience training in reactive dogs or a proper fence, a physical fence. He should be leashed at all times when off property because it's a loaded gun. As I said, it's not the dog's fault, it's the owner's fault.
Well, we do have a leash law, so you're 100% right. Any dog
We have a
off-
leash law,
Yeah.
but they're not adhering to it. Just the other day, 2 neighbors of mine told me that Nala was unleashed on the road that goes toward the wells. And that's fine if your dog is friendly and approachable, but not with this type of reactive dog. We have some excellent facilities in Franklin and in Walpole that specialize in courses, 7-week courses for reactive dogs, counter conditioning, to help them be able to withstand the trigger of seeing a dog. These dogs are sometimes very friendly to people and very friendly to some dogs, But you never know, when you're walking your dog, whether this loaded gun's going to go off. I was just furious at the way the owners treated me that evening. Thank God my dog is alive. It's not pleasant to be here, but it's easier than the fear of being attacked. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
My name is Penny Saffler, and I live at 12 Nason Lane in the Summerfield neighborhood. Nala is my husband, Eric, and my 4-year-old pet, Golden Doodle. She has lived with us ever since we brought her home as an 8-week-old puppy. Eric and I have had several dogs over our 43 years together. We both love animals. We are responsible dog owners who have raised very loving dogs. When I read the email I received from my landlord, from Melissa, the head of our association's management company, about a complaint from Lark, I couldn't believe what I was reading. It painted Nala out as a dangerous dog that is scaring several neighbors and always breaking through the electric fence. I am here to tell you that that is the incorrect portrayal of her. Nala is a love. She's great around small children, big children, and grown-ups alike. Before Eric's mom passed away in December, Nala would go with him to her nursing home, and she would visit all of the residents. They look forward to seeing her. We have kids in the neighborhood that stop by to play with Nala. We have an electric fence that runs around both our houses, my neighbor's house and our house. And the 12-year-old boy that lives there is often out in the yard with friends, and they love having Nala hang out with them. Nala is not a scary dog. She is not. I honestly don't know why we are here this evening. We had only one previous incident with Nala, which Eric will address. My husband, who is right here, he's going to talk after me. I honestly, she lives, Lark doesn't live in our neighborhood, and in the 4 years Nala has been with us, I have never seen her on our cul-de-sac or on the path behind our house. We have never bumped into her on any of our walks. In the evening of August 16th, we were having a bunch of neighbors over for a cookout, and Nala was in the backyard with us. What we didn't realize then, but found out shortly after, was that the electric fence wire had been knocked loose. And when Lark came down the street walking her dog, Nala sensed the fence wasn't working and ran through it and growled in the dog's face. Her puppy yelped, and Lark picked her up. Our neighbor, Rob, who's also here, saw the whole thing, and he had just left his house across the street and was on his way to our cookout when it happened. He was right there and said Nala didn't bite the dog, and I heard the commotion, and both Rob and I ran to Lark. We were asking what happened. We were trying to figure out because we didn't see it. We checked her dog all over to make sure there were no injuries. There was nothing. There was no blood. There was nothing. She was just very shaken, and that was what I saw. The dog seemed fine. 3 days later, we got a call from Casey, the animal control officer, telling us we had to quarantine our dog for 10 days, which is the rule, for a dog bite, which my dog did not inflict on her dog. And we were getting a $50 citation for the bite as well, but there was no dog bite. If there was, Lark would have had her dog looked at the vets. Instead, she took a picture of what she thought might be a bite and sent it to Casey, who, by the way, is not a vet and is not in a position to make that kind of determination. On top of the call from the animal control officer, we also got threatening emails from our landlord, our association management company, and on top of that, we get brought in front of the Board of Selectmen. Here we are today. Things have gone way too far. In closing, I want you all to know what a love Nala is. We have brought along some of our neighbors, people who actually know Nala and see her on a daily basis, to speak on her behalf or to answer any of your questions about her. And now I would like to introduce you to my husband, Eric, and we also have a trainer who is also with us, who has been working with us very diligently. I have some great video here, which I can show you how well behaved she is. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eric Saffler. I live at 12 Nason Lane, and I'm the husband of Penny and the owner of Nala. I want to address the why offense we have in our yard, as well as the steps we have taken and are taking to address tonight's complaint. When we first brought Nala home in 2021, there was a wire fence that ran along our whole backyard that kept her in the yard. After a land survey of our neighborhood, it was determined that our fence was a foot off the property, and the association demanded that it be removed. There's a path behind our backyard we've talked about that leads to the pool and clubhouse. There's also a manicured hill that runs up to the next cul-de-sac. Without the fence, Nala started exploring the back area. She went into a couple of the neighbors' yards, and one of them complained to the association. In response, we had an electric fence installed. When it is on, and when Nala has the collar on, it works perfectly. She has not broken through it when it is live since the very beginning. The times she has gotten outside of the yard are either because she didn't have the collar on or the unit was not live. On July 13th, I opened the back door of my house to get something from the patio. Nala saw a dog on the path and bolted out of the open door. She did not have a collar on at the time. She ran out onto the path. I'm not sure what happened, as my vision was obscured by some bushes, but she bit the other dog, which was a large dog, on the back near its tail. She'd never bitten the dog before. She's gnarled at dogs. She's protective, but she's never bit. We let the owner know that we would pay any vet bills if needed, which we did. And then we decided we had to do something. So we started researching animal behaviorists, dog trainers, etc. We've always used dog trainers. We are not irresponsible owners. We've had phenomenal dogs over the years. To be accused of that is wrong. A lot of things tonight are wrong that we're being falsely accused of. Nala does not leave the yard ever. She is not a terror. She's not bothering other neighbors. And for them to say that is really untrue and unfair, really unfair. I have an animal behaviorist here who will vouch for this. He's been working with her. We've had him for 6 hours already. So these are people that know what they're doing. So with dogs, there's basically leaders and followers. That's all dogs know. When a dog is a leader, it has responsibility to protect. When it's a follower, it just hangs with the pack. When you're working with dogs and you take it for a walk and you let that dog walk where it wants, you've let it become the leader. When you call the dog and it doesn't come right away and you don't reprimand it, it's becoming the leader. It was a mistake we made. We've always had loving dogs and we've never had to be that disciplined. What we've learned is, yes, we have to be the leader. There's 2 commands that are really, really important with dogs. Heel, to keep that dog right by your side, and the recall of here, that when the dog starts to leave you, that you can call and it'll automatically come back. Those are 2 things we've been working very diligently with Ray about, and we've had tremendous success. The dog, we use a stimulating collar, and she's been phenomenal. I took her for an hour walk today. She sat right by my side. When we did recall, she came every single time. So she's had, now that she knows I'm not the leader anymore, I'm the follower, she's a lot more relaxed. So I have Ray here. He's a renowned behaviorist. He's written a book. He's helped over 24,000 people around the world with their dogs. Phenomenal. This book is both a great educational piece and an entertaining piece, if anybody is interested in it. I'd like to bring him up if you want to ask him any questions, if that would be okay. I don't know if that's something you want to do, or how do you feel? Are we running over on time? I also have several neighbors here that actually live in the neighborhood that see the dog on a daily basis that can vouch for her.
So I guess I just want to, I'm not sure that we need the behaviorist as a group, to be honest with you. I think we understand what you're doing. That in itself is good. The concern I have is you make a comment that the dog has never left the yard. Obviously, Ms. Gowan was not in your yard.
Right, I'm on those 2 occasions, yes, she did leave the yard.
So, but those 2 occasions show that there's in my mind, there's a concern or an interest that you're not keeping the dog with a collar on it. You've taken the time and money to put a fence in that can basically effectively keep the dog on your property.
Well, the dog was inside so we didn't need the collar on her at the time. When I opened the door, she bolted out. We always put the collar, I mean, she's outside with the collar on all the time. That was
Dog
just,
always has a collar on, so
well, they tell you not to leave it on for more than certain hours a day. It causes irritations. We're now leaving it on a lot longer. That, you know, again, these were things that we've reacted to based on, to have them say that we're doing nothing as dog owners is wrong. I spent over $1,000 on a behaviorist. We're doing a lot. We paid the vet bill. My question is, if she thought her dog was bit, and she's taken all this time to do all this, why didn't she go to the vet?
I did go to the vet.
You did go to the vet, and the vet
The
said
vet
what?
said if it wasn't a puncture wound, he didn't have to treat it. But I have pictures. He still has scars
Yeah, the
from the
board has,
bites.
board has pictures.
And if I hadn't picked him up, he would have been
No,
mauled.
my dog has done that with other dogs. She's never bit another dog.
Oh,
That's what,
Mike Sweeney's
That's a lie.
well, I'm sorry, except for Mike.
That's a lie.
Yeah, no, Mike's dog, I don't know what happened on that night. That is definitely,
Did the board members?
Mr. Chairman,
Find it appropriate to...
Mr. Chairman, can I say a few words?
Yep.
I think the board has over a dozen.
Who are you?
My name is Robert Golden. I'm Lark's husband. I live on Lion Lane, in the same general neighborhood, okay?
Right
It's
across.
a large complex. But anyway, I think the board has, over a dozen letters of complainants regarding the behavior of this dog. The dog might be good with people, but not with animals. This path that's been referenced in these complaints and during this hearing, it's more of like a nature trail that was planned by the developer way back. And, you know, for people to, you know, for everyone to enjoy. And many dog owners in the complex like to use that path. And what's happened over the, you know, recent years is this dog has taken over the path and has scared many people away. So what you heard over here is a lot of hooey, all right? It's a lot of excuses, and, you know, something needs to be done. Now, these lots are tiny, right? And they're like quarter-acre lots. My suggestion is put up a fence, let the dog run around in the fenced area where it can't harm other dogs. I mean, since it's such a small area, it wouldn't be any kind of economic hardship. So that's my suggestion.
it's not our house.
Not his house. No, his house is special.
That's not our house.
That house is special.
The dog should be leashed at all times, too, when off the ground.
I'm sorry.
And I invite anyone else to talk. You know, if I know there's some other people here that have problems.
I'd like to speak. My dog...
You'd have to come up and,
Hi, my name is Karen.
no, you have to come up to the mic, ma'am.
Official.
There's people at home who want to hear the conversation.
My name is Karen Mendelson. My dog...
Where do you live?
I live 172 Cannon Forge Drive in Foxborough. My dog, Sophie, is a very good friend of Nala. I have no fear of Nala whatsoever. She's very friendly with Sophie. They play together. They do have dog entertainment, and they run and they stallion. I also use Ray McSorley. He's phenomenal. If there's a problem with Nala, Ray can fix Nala. She's a dog. She's not a person. I have one question. You said your dog was sick or in the hospital before you brought it down the path?
No, down the street.
Down the street? Mm-hmm. Well, could the puncture wounds have been from that before?
No, because my puppy eats poop. And he developed a parasitic inflammation on the GI gut. He had a GI bleed. He almost died. He had to have a blood transfusion. He was in there for 7 days, cost $13,000. He did not have any kind of bites on him. I have pictures of the bites the morning after, dated. So he was bitten. Thank God I picked him up. It would have been worse.
Well, I think the fact that Nala is a dog, and like I said, my dog is a friend of Nala, and they play very well together, so Nala can be socialized to play with dogs. She is very friendly with dogs. And I know Penny and Eric are very responsible. We go down this path. It's called the watershed. And if your dog is in control, you can take the dog on this path. And they play there. We have no problems with other dogs on that path. So,
You do realize, though, you're not supposed to be on that path. There's a big sign that says, "No trespassing." Everybody in our community walks down that path. Nobody is supposed to be on that path. Not a person, not a dog.
how about on the trails?
I don't walk down there because from our development, it says no trespassing. So I don't know, once you get on, wherever you're going, I don't know. You're using this as an example. Nobody is supposed to be down there. And this was brought up at the last Summerfield meeting, and everyone said, "No, sir," and I said, "I see it all the time." So I pulled out and looked.
Yeah, there
No
are people
trespassing.
on there all the time.
Is it
There
okay
are.
if I get into what I want to say? So there's a couple of things. First of all, the town has its own rules. I am the chairperson for the Summerfield, there's 3 boards in there, okay? So we have our own rules because issues were happening with dogs. And we can't tell you to muzzle your dog, we can't tell you put up a fence, the only thing we can do is fine you, we have a fining system. So,
That's the board that's.
not this board, the
That's
Summerfield
Summerfield,
board,
yes.
yeah. So I have a couple of things. I know you said that you got a, oh my God, what was the word you used about the letter from the Summerfield, from our property manager? I can't remember, you read it, I can't remember what the word, first thing I thought of, not aggressive, but I'm sure it wasn't that way. Melissa is very professional. So here's the problem I have. I've already heard this all at our board meetings, and like I said, all we can do is fine. I knew this was going to be coming here. Here's the issue I have. I understand you're getting training for the dog. That is fabulous. There's 17 letters here about Nala running into the yard and pooping. Nala, and their addresses, I don't think I have to get into who they are. I read them all. Some of these go back 2 or 3 years that were sent to Summerfield. And I was kind of surprised when Casey didn't want to have a hearing. And then but I don't think you had any of this information at the time.
No.
Okay, so whether Mike Sweeney wants to get up and talk, his dog was just 6-8 weeks ago severely hurt by Nala. Number one. Number two, my neighbor across the street, who has been before this board because her little Chihuahua mix was attacked about 4 years ago. Seriously, we had to have emergency surgery. She said just about 6 or 8 weeks ago, she was down on Nason Lane, walking her child in the stroller, walking the dog, and Nala came running out at her. And she scooped them up. She's terrified. This is the second time that she thought, like, her dog has already been attacked, not by Nala, a different dog. So the problem I'm having is, it just seems like Nala is getting out of the yard. And I don't understand when you say, maybe, for us, it doesn't really matter, but when you're saying you have 2 yards fenced in, I would think for insurance purposes, that's probably a big no-no. Like, he should have only your yard. You shouldn't be fenced in with another neighbor's yard where your dogs can run. Again, that's an insurance thing. Because if your dog were to have an incident in their yard, they would be responsible for it. So I don't know why you have 2 yards fenced in. But it's just one email after another going back for 2 years that your neighbors were having a cookout and 3 dogs charged into their yard with their grandchildren in the yard. I'm glad something's being done, but the problem I'm having on sitting on this board is I just hear that the dog keeps getting out. That's my big problem. And when you say the dog is great with people, maybe it is. I don't walk down the pool path, so I've never seen Nala run out. I'm just going by, but, if it's, my feeling is if it's one neighbor against one neighbor, sometimes you're like, okay, they're, going against each other, but it's multiple people in the Summerfield area, in Cannon Forge. I see another neighbor here. Her dog, Nala, jumped on her dog and dislocated the dog's hip. So, you know, I mean, it's here, you know. If those neighbors want to get up and talk, that's up to them. I'm just what I read, that Nala didn't bite, but jumped up on it, and she's got a tiny little dog. So, I mean, the problem is he's getting out of the yard. And I don't know, is that what the behaviorist is going to help you with? And the fact that it's like, oh, he didn't have his collar on, he got out of the house. I mean, we just had to have another dog muzzled because 2 or 3 times got out of the yard, you know. And now I have a neighbor, you know, and her child is going to bed at this time. She's like, I can't come. And I think she there's an email from her in here, and she's like, Stephanie, I'm afraid. I'm walking my child, have my dog, and I have a dog come charging at us. Yep. How do you think that makes me feel? So you're nodding your head.
I'm nodding my head because
I've never seen Nala charge.
That I am aware of.
That is something you are, or you're not.
No,
I've never seen Nala charge.
No one has ever brought that to my attention. And they should bring that to my attention, not to anybody else's.
Before we go any
Our
further,
attention.
excuse me, before we go any further, any conversations have to come up front here, so you can't have that. But
Yeah.
Casey, do you have a recommendation on this based on everything you've seen at this point?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't feel that Nala rises to a dangerous level. It is a nuisance. I mean, especially breaking out, whether bites or no bites, it's still, you know, she does seem to break out, especially based off of letters from neighbors from years past. So I think we can easily say that we can consider Nala a nuisance in the neighborhood. With that, I would say that we need to put some things in place. The training is already being done, but I still think it needs to be continued, and I think that should be addressed in that. Also, that Nala be on a leash anytime that she's off property, only because our bylaws state that a dog has to be either leashed or under the care and control of the owner. So that means that if your dog comes for a recall, you don't necessarily have to leash it. I think that in this case, we should say Nala should probably stay leashed whenever she's off property. I also, go ahead.
I apologize. Off property or out of the house?
Off property, off of the property of the owner. So
my question would be, and because this is what I was going to say a few minutes ago, somewhere along the line, the fence and the collar's not working.
right.
So could we go one step further and say anytime they leave? Am I jumping ahead of you? I apologize.
That's okay. So my third recommendation would be that a second safety be put in place, whether it's that the dog is appropriately contained to the yard via a fence. I know that they rent, so that may not be an option, but a runner leashed when outside, just a second safeguard in case there's an issue and the fence isn't working or the collar's not on or Nala goes through it. We just, put something else there in place.
Yeah. So, to Doc's point, I think my concern is, I see this not as a Nala issue. I see this as an owner issue as far as getting off the property. Having a fence that's accidentally unplugged, I have a little bit of a concern about how that happens. Secondarily, always having had my dogs with collars on them, never having had wear issues or anything else like that. And I had a pit bull, so trust me, I'm not talking about a dog that's friendly to most people, but this dog was. But I know the concerns people have. So my concern is the owners need to keep at all times either the collar on or make sure the dog can't get out of the house without that collar. The fence that you've put in is, in most cases, I've seen a few dogs who are willing to run through them and yelp, but not very often because it is painful. But the fence is useless if it's not applied. So if you're not going to have the collar on, or you're not going to be sure that the plug is plugged in, you've pretty much negated the thing. And quite honestly, once the dog thinks he can go through, you've created another issue.
As far as the plug coming undone, it was in an area where something bumped into it, knocked it out. I've now taped that. That's never going to happen. And you find these things out, you remedy them. I'm not an irresponsible dog owner. Right? We try to do right. As far as keeping Nala, she's an active dog. She likes to run. She plays ball all day long. I throw the ball to her in our yard. It's a constant thing. To put her on a lead or on a run is going to make it impossible for her to work. There's just no way for her to work. I don't know how to address that. I mean, we have a lease until the end of May, and we'll be gone. But in the
And we're
meantime-
also going to move the wireless fence in the front of the yard closer to our house, so that it's not as close to the road.
It's right on the edge. Our dog behaviorist said, move it back 20 feet, so that's...
Can I speak?
Sure.
Sherry Shepherd. I live on Robbins Road. I've lived there for 30 years. I've walked that path forever with all the dogs that I've ever had. And his first dog seemed to be fine. I don't remember Bailey. But this dog, for some reason, feels like it has control of that back path. And anybody that runs back there, you hold your heart in your hands as you're walking your dogs. Mine are too heavy to pick up. Now I have a little small puppy. There's no way in creation I would walk back there at this point. I said, and even though he said he has the collar on, the dog is running 2 houses. So it's not just running in his lot. It's running back and forth in between the 2 houses. So you're like, okay, when's it going to come out? And sometimes I've seen the neighbor taking care of the dog, and it will be barking, barking, barking. She'll say, Nala, and she'll press that button, and it will come. But you've spent over $1,000 on the injury for his dog. I would talk to your landlord, and I would put money in, maybe $3,000, and put a fence, maybe a 6-foot fence, just in the backyard, without any railings in it that he can see through. Let him run. You can play ball with him out there. Have no access to the front yard so people can walk back and forth safely in the public street. That's my suggestion, because it's been going on for too long. And there's too many people that like that path. It's a shortcut. There's no reason it's public. Why his dog has to feel like it's in total control of that whole strip, viciously barking. I don't think it's aggressive to people, but we've had incidences with it. So that's what I want to say.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Name's Michael Sweeney, 14 Inman Lane in the Summerfield neighborhood. I've got copies for each one of you, pictures of the aftermath of my dog, along with the vet bill, if you're interested. It was just a very...
I think we saw
Seen them.
Yeah.
We've seen
Oh, you
them.
have them, okay. It was just a very scary situation. I think it was, I believe Eric said it was the 13th. It was 12th or the 13th. It was a Sunday morning. And I've walked back there before, and Nala has come out at us on the path, out of the yard, growling and snarling, and I've been able... She never attacked before, but this morning, for whatever reason, she just came out and attacked, and it happened so fast. I didn't have time to react. My dog didn't even know what's going on. She's a red lab. She's not aggressive at all. And at first, I didn't know that she had been bitten until later that night, and I found that she had been licking at the wound for all day long. And then the next morning, I brought it to the vet, and that's the aftermath. But I agree with everybody here talking about the aggressiveness of Nala. Every person that I've spoken to on a dog walk, and I mentioned, I didn't know any of this happened until this happened to my dog, and then I heard the stories. And just about everybody that's gone down that path has had an issue. So I do think something more than just the trainer needs to be done. I mean, if the runner is going to work, I think maybe that should be done too.
To be honest,
And
I don't know if our leash law, we developed it so long ago. I'm trying to think if it says if it's only when your dog is out of your yard, or does your dog have to be in control in your yard.
You're
And
referring to the one for
The one for Summerfield. So while that's not going to determine here, but I want to make sure that if anything is brought down here, it's okay with us there. Like if we say to him, you don't have to have your dog leashed in the yard, and people see it, he's going to get fines. It's going to be 25, then 50, then 100, you know what I mean? So even though there's no jurisdiction either one, ours just says your dog has to be leashed. So, have you seen that one? I don't know what, they
not
probably
the
would never.
Summerfield one,
Probably no
no.
reason to, it's something we developed as our homeowner association, but I just want to make sure that, if we just say to him, it's okay. I kind of think maybe in the yard, because then why wouldn't someone be able to have an electric fence? If we're going to tell you your dog has to be leashed, then there'd be no use to have an electric fence. So I kind of think it's just when they're out of the yard, but I just want to make sure that, whatever, if anyone has a suggestion here, that's not just going to go completely against what we have there, because then he'll get fines. That's all.
Personally, just to come full circle, I'd like to see, short of a fence being put up, which may or may not be a hardship, that, once Nala leaves the house, she has to be leashed. That's my opinion.
I actually have a couple questions for you. This is my first dog hearing, so I do have a few. Whatever stipulations we put in place, how is that monitored or enforced?
So what we can do is we have higher fines that we can issue then. We could also bring them back in front of the board if we're continuing to have issues where they're not following. It can go all the way up to criminal charges where we file within the courts for failure to follow.
Okay, and so that's something that you take care of and monitor? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Doc as far as the fence. I'm not really sure how that works with the association, if we can enforce that or not.
Well, it's not the association, they're renting, so they might not be able to put a real fence up. So short of that,
Can the owners be contacted?
I mean,
That would be us, I guess.
but I'm thinking, the dog never gets out, but it did, the fence always works, but it didn't. So
Yeah.
I have to go that one step where, and that's why I was checking with you,
Yeah.
Casey, about,
Yeah.
Once that dog left the front
Right.
door, my guess would, my feeling would be, it's got to be leashed.
Right.
So, Mr. Chairman, hearing all this, I'd recommend some conditions. One would be a leash requirement, that Nala must be restrained on a physical leash at all times when off premise. The leash must be held by a responsible person or suitable age and strength. Then two could be a training requirement. Within X number of days, this order, Nala has to be enrolled and complete a professional obedience or behavior training program. The training must specifically focus on achieving a full and reliable recall of the dog under all circumstances. Could work on language with that. And then on-premise confinement, when outdoors on your property and not on a leash, Nala must be kept within a secure fence yard or in a locked dog run. If fencing is not sufficient to prevent escape, a second safeguard must be used, such as tethering to a secure run line or maintaining Nala on a leash. And then the verification is the animal control officer would conduct periodic checks. So those are sort of listening to what you said, what I've come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can I show you some video of the training?
It doesn't
I don't
really
think it
matter. I mean,
matters.
we hope that that's a long-term positive
It is.
outcome, but the fact that you're doing is good. I mean, us seeing the train doesn't really
Well,
matter.
and I want to add one other thing. I did drive by your house.
In there.
Just like after, I wouldn't, I don't know if we had seen it here yet, but I had heard what was going on, and you were like on a ladder or doing something in the corner of the house, and Nala was just there, just running, I just want you, I don't think anyone thinks Nala's a bad dog, but she can't come out and get it, scaring people. But, because I drove by and I said, oh, look at her. She was just in the vicinity, kind of the side of your yard. But I'm driving by in a car. There's nobody walking or another dog to draw her out. And so I just want you to know, I don't think anybody here thinks you're lying, but I don't think anybody's lying here. I think there's different stuff going on, and, we just want everybody to be safe, including Nala, by the way.
Of course. No, I totally agree with
Yeah.
you.
I would also hope that the trainer is working on the dog not being so reactive to other dogs.
Yes.
I know many dogs think they're protecting their property, and they see a dog go by, and that's part of the reaction to it. But, obedience and reaction are two things that can be worked on. Again, people shouldn't feel like they're in any kind of danger. And sometimes people just feel they're in danger because the dog is barking loudly at them. But it's an aggressive attitude, so that's why you can understand why they do feel that. So, again, I think I'm in agreement with what we were presenting for terms. If we all would like to move that direction. Casey, are you in agreement with basically what's done? Okay.
Can I ask a quick question? Hi.
Come up, please.
I actually live across the street from
Wait till you get to the mic.
Here, come here.
I just wanted to ask a quick question as listening to all this. I'm Debbie Williams. I live at 11 Nason Lane, which is across from Nala and Eric and Penny. And I just had a question because they seem so surprised. I'm in property management. I manage 350 apartments. I know, a lot of stuff that goes on, Anyway, it's not fun. Anywho, I was asking if they seem to be surprised at how many people had complained. So my question is moving forward, when all this gets settled and everything, if they could be contacted when you have a complaint about something? Because I just felt like they were like, everybody in the room was like, 16 complaints or whatever it was. I just was like, we were all like, and so I just was wondering why they didn't know.
So part of the problem here is the complaints were not going to the town, they were going to
Oh, Summerfield.
Summerfield.
So, because I would want to know, because I have a dog too, so I would certainly.
That's a Summerfield issue
Right.
to deal
Okay.
with. Although I would say to people in general, if you do have a complaint on the dogs, it should be coming through our animal control officer, because quite
Right.
honestly, she has the authority to do something where Summerfield has no authority other than to find somebody.
Which I totally understand, but I just.
But I understand that there,
Yeah.
you all think
It
you have
just seemed kind of
a
like
policy and a
shocking,
procedure there, so.
And they've lived here for 8 years. I've been here for 12. And just to give a little bit of a positive thing, when we love Nala, we have a little Yorkie, his name's Bowie, and whenever we bring Bowie over, Nala just goes. So, lays down and wants to, play with Bowie. But, we have Bowie on a leash and everything, but at the same time, Nala does not leave the yard if she's got her collar on and everything like that. I can attest to that. Anyway, I think I'm all set. I just wanted to ask because it did seem a little, I just missed that part.
Okay. So how do we form,
Yeah, I don't have all that.
we don't have the rules for that, is what we're saying. So,
Well, you could do a motion. You want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Yes, and then we
Yes.
could say so moved.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want me to,
No, she's going to read it.
She's gonna read
and
it.
we're just going to say so moved.
okay.
And Casey, before I go any further, did that sound okay? Or is there anything you want to? Okay.
No, that makes sense.
So we'll add language, blah, 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 the conduct of public hearing, all that. One would be a leash requirement. Nala must be, I emailed this to you, Katie, so you don't have to tape it. A Nala must be restrained on a physical leash at all times when off premise. The leash must be held by a responsible person of suitable age and strength. 2, training requirement within 60.
Hold on. We have to close the hearing first before we take the vote, don't we?
True, yes.
So,
Yeah, hold that thought.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
So leash requirement number 1. Number 2 is a training requirement within 60 days of this order. You must enroll Nala and complete a professional obedience or behavior training program. The training must specifically be focused on achieving full and reliable recall of the dog under all circumstances. Proof of enrollment and completion must be submitted to the town manager's office or the animal control officer. Either one will work, we'll share. Number 3 is on-premises confinement. When outdoors on your property and not on a leash, Nala must be kept within a secure fenced yard or in a locked dog run. If the fencing is not sufficient to prevent escape, a second safeguard must be used, such as tethering to a secure run line or maintaining Nala on a leash held by a responsible person. And then 4, verification would be the animal control officer may conduct periodic checks with reasonable notice to ensure compliance with these conditions.
So
Did you say that he could be on a run in the backyard?
Yeah.
Okay, because I know it was
So
like mixed in with the secure fence.
If the electric fence doesn't work, and if
Yeah.
it won't work if they don't have the collar on, so therefore they're going to force the
Yeah,
issue
collar
of
has
the
to be on.
tether.
So,
if they
can I
if they
just,
allow the
I'm
stepping in.
confused. Are you saying that we
The-
can't have an electric fence?
No, you can have by the fence, the regulations of a fence,
Sorry.
both qualify as a fence technically,
Yeah.
or legally, so. But
But
again,
if you keep finding that this.
right, but again, if he comes out without the
Right.
collar on, so
Right.
that the fence doesn't work, then you've kind of forced the issue here, and you're
Yeah.
gonna, and the
But
dog will be.
did the motion say that he has to be on a run?
No.
No, it says
only
when,
if it doesn't-
when outdoors on your property and not on a leash, Nala must be kept within a secure fenced yard, so that's the electric
Oh,
fence.
okay, okay.
Or, right, is that how we're all interpreting that?
Yeah.
Or in a locked dog run. If the fencing is not sufficient to prevent escape, a second safeguard must be used, such as tethering to a secure run line or maintaining Nala on a leash. So I guess that's if the electric fence doesn't hold up, you're going to have a second means.
Or build a fence around the house?
Around the back of the house.
So move.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Left a mess.
Okay. Was the date wrong?
Half of Summerfield and Cannon Ford.
Okay,
do it
so the Board of Health vacancy joint meeting, you guys like to come forward?
Must have wished we could put you on the agenda before that. You could have been in and out of here.
That's okay.
Okay.
Amy, do you want to do a motion to open?
Yep.
Motion to open the joint meeting of the Select Board and the Board of Health.
Second.
All in
Has to be
favor?
roll call, please.
Oh, Mark, yes?
Stephanie, yes.
Bill, yes?
Amy, yes. And do I read the next thing?
I'm sorry, what was your name again? Robin Chappelle. Thank you.
Okay.
Do I read the next spot?
Yeah.
Okay. For the record, present are 4 members of the Select Board and 1 member of the Board of Health. The Board of Health is a 3-member elected board. 1 seat has become vacant. Under Chapter 41, Section 11, this body will now fill that vacancy by roll call vote.
So the candidate,
We had 2 candidates,
okay.
and they were both very strong candidates.
Could you bring the mic closer,
Bring the mic
because you're
closer.
kind of quiet?
Yeah.
We had 2 very strong candidates. We had a lovely discussion. I believe firmly that anybody that lives in Foxborough that wants to serve on a board should, and I believe that to be on the Board of Health should be passionate about public health. Both of the candidates were. We had a discussion on lots of different issues, and we're recommending Dennis to be our 3rd Board of Health member. He has a background in public health. He's very passionate in public health, and we think he'll be a good addition to our discussions and our policy making for the board.
Just so everybody knows, we're talking about Dennis Keefe.
Yes.
People at home may not know who Dennis is, so. Okay. Any questions on our board?
Well, no real questions. Having worked with Dennis for the last 3 years on this board and knowing his background, I was one who recommended or asked Dennis to put his name in, and I think he's a wonderful candidate. He'll do good by you guys. Very knowledgeable.
I would agree 100%.
Okay. Let's do a,
Okay. Motion to appoint Dennis Keefe to the Board of Health for a term to end May 4th,
Second.
2026.
Because he's finishing a term.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Second, Mark, yes?
Stephanie, yes.
Bill, yes.
Amy, yes.
Robin, yes.
Okay. Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
And we did put a letter to the board about our vote, so our other, Sophia, also would be a yes if she was here, our other member.
Great.
I also want to say that we were so impressed with the other candidate that we, in other communities, have associate members of the board. So we are going to look into seeing what we can do to make her a non-voting, an associate member. So we're going to be looking into that, just so that we can have a good discussion and lots of people to do lots of work for us.
Oh, another set of ears, another viewpoint. Yeah, absolutely. Great
That's
idea.
a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Especially since you have a second great candidate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Every board should be that lucky.
Seriously. Motion to close the joint meeting.
Second,
Roll call, yes.
Mark, yes?
Stephanie, yes.
Bill, yes.
Amy, yes.
Robin, yes.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paige, would you like to finish?
Yes. Let's see, where was I? Oh, yeah, I was hammering home, there's no commercial parking allowed in residential areas, nor Airbnbs allowed. I did want to let the board know that I'm working on an employee appreciation event, probably the morning of November 13th. Stay tuned for more details, but that's something I'm trying to figure something out to do. With respect to land use workshops, we did have a meeting on August 26th regarding senior housing needs. As I've mentioned before, the turnout is dismal. We did have a handful of people there, but it's definitely doesn't feel like we're getting enough turnout to really give us a community sense. There was another meeting tonight at the same time. I know that people were concerned about that, but I know Catherine's been trying all different times of day, nights. Tuesday nights might be better than a Wednesday night, so that's why there's been an overlap, but tonight was a meeting. There's another master plan survey up, so if you go to planfoxborolongway.com, check out the surveys. I don't know if I remembered at the last meeting or if this is new news, but we did get a $75,000 earmark for the Central Street Veterans Parking Lot. So Amy will be happy about that. I think we're going to focus on dumpsters and fencing, so stay tuned for that. I got a little excited thinking we had so much money and then talked to the engineers of the group and learned that the money's gone before we even, I was going to do lighting and this and that, and they're like, yeah, by the time you're done with the concrete and the fencing, you're broke. So we just plug away, but we appreciate Senator Feeney's help with that as we continue to work on that parking lot. There's a lot going on in the veterans world. I know I brought this up at the last meeting, but just a reminder that next week, September 18th, at 11 a.m. through noon on September 19th, there will be a candlelight vigil in honor of the POW MIAs for 24 hours on the Common. And there's going to be a Veterans Resource Fair coming up on October 18th, and then a Veterans Breakfast on, September 20th, and an ice cream social on September 27th. So the veterans are busy. Marie Almodovar is our finance director. She's holding Municipal Finance 101 classes. So if you ever wanted to understand where your tax dollars and where all the money goes from a town government and town budget, there's a lunch and learn on September 23rd at 11:30, and they'll be serving lunch. And then there'll be an evening session on September 23rd, there's at 11:30, and then on the evening session is on September 30th at 5:45. There will not be a meal, so that's...
Where are the sessions being held?
At the community center. And then, if you didn't see it, there was a full issue of the Foxborough Common newsletter published last week, chock full of information, so if you're watching at home and you haven't seen it, please go to the front page of the website. We have currently no advertised positions available, that's a milestone. So that's fabulous.
We got the DPW mechanic.
Well, we've got some interviews.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got enough interviews that and the laborer, we had a tree and park, so I think we hit it at the right time of the year. And exciting news, it hasn't yet happened, but Chris Gallagher has been working diligently with MassDOT to try to fix 140. striping between the Shell station and the charter school entrance over past Central Street, Commercial Central. He has gotten it to the point where they've agreed to restripe it, so we're going to have turning lanes, and it could happen any Sunday. So stay tuned. I was hoping yesterday when I drove to work that they were going to be there. They're not. But I think the plan is they'll schedule work for a Sunday night. So one day we'll go out, and that it'll actually create turning lanes so that when you're leaving Town Hall and heading towards, say, Job Lot, if you want to take a left onto Central, stay on Central, then you'd be able to take the left, and you don't have to illegally go around people like we all do. And then there'll be the turns for the charter schools as well. So we're very excited about that, and we appreciate Chris' hard work on that. And that's all I have.
Awesome.
Are there anything for the board as far as updates?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Steph?
No?
Okay. I don't have any.
We do have to revisit a motion that we did in action items. The date was wrong, so I have to read it into the record again, just so that it's accurate. Sorry about that. Okay. So this it pertains to the one-day beer and wine application. So it's motion to approve a one-day beer and wine license for B Hoppy Brewing LLC, doing business as Wormtown Brewery, for October 19th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. for Patriot Place's Harvest Fest.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay. All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good evening.
Right.